supposed to know what is a good amp if I'm not able to see the label?
Yeah, that is a bit of a mystery, isn't it? That's an intangible statement. That scenario has played out in many a household across the world. Morning, everybody. How's it going? Hope you're going to have an amazing weekend. I think we're going to put this out on the Saturday, mainly because my week definitely took a turn sideways when my beautiful new Neve console's computer decided to puke its guts out and just plain stop working. The video about that should already be out. The video I was scheduled to shoot this week will be out next week. Yeah, just everything's completely fucked. So that's why Viewers Comments is coming out at a different time. So yeah, here we are. Don't forget, we've got the Spectre Digital SummerSlam Super Sale going on right now for only $177. We'll have a few words on that in a minute. Before we jump into your questions here, I just want to give my recommendations for the week of cool shit to check out. Number one, the anime series Beck. If you haven't seen this and you play music, I really recommend this one. It's one of the very few animes. I think I've watched the whole thing through like 3 times. It's got something like 36 episodes. It's just a phenomenal story about a kid learning to play guitar, joining a band, and making his way on stage, and just all the bullshit they have to deal with along the way. Phenomenal stuff. What really blew me away was just how good the freaking music in this show was. I was not ready for that. I was so impressed by the music. We've actually done 2 covers from the soundtrack on the show. We did Moon on the Water with my very good friend Siegfried Song singing, and we also did Like a Fujin, which was more of a punk metal thing, and that was with Mr. Trey Watson singing. Once again, just a killer soundtrack, killer story. Go check it out if you haven't already. You're kind of doing yourself a disservice if you're a musician and you haven't seen it yet. And for books, I'm going to recommend The Forever War by Joe Haldeman. Really cool book. I'm not going to give away too much. Let's just say it definitely gets into the whole time dilation theory, relativity thing going on, and will definitely make you scratch your head and make you think quite a bit. Really cool book. I read that way back in high school. I recently reread it and it's still phenomenal. So if you're looking for something, you got a big road trip coming up, you're looking for something to read, definitely recommend that one. Now, I got to say, the last few Viewers Comments have been doing phenomenal numbers, mainly because I'm trying to be helpful with these episodes instead of just being a sarcastic bastard. So we're going to continue on with that idea this week. And I've got a whole bunch of questions I want to answer for you guys. And hopefully this show can be of some help. Make sure you watch all the way through because honestly, that's the biggest help you can be to this show. Let's get to it.
Glenn, big question. Do you have any tips on making lead guitar sit well in the mix? Guitar solos are always impossible to me. They're either too quiet or drown out everything else. I can never get them to sit just right.
Fantastic question. This is something I think a lot of us have struggled with. I know I did for a very long time, but there's a couple of cool strategies you can do. Just remember, when you're mixing, it isn't just about turning things up all the time. It's about give and take. One thing you can do, this is something I do on pretty much every mix I do, is I'll usually drop the rhythm guitars by about 2 to 3 decibels when a guitar solo is playing. That way the solo sits in there a whole lot better. All you got to do is do a little bit of automation, drop those rhythm tracks. You're going to have a much easier time getting them into place. The other thing I would recommend, and if this works if you're using real amps or an amp sim, is to change up the tone. I got this recommended from me by James Murphy many, many years ago. He always said, when it comes to leads, use a different amp because they're going to sit in the soundscape in a different spot. So you're not going to struggle as much to get them to sit in a mix. They're just going to fit in a whole lot easier. If you're using an amp sim, just change up whatever cabinet impulse you're using. Instead of going with the standard vintage 30 thing, you can change to another impulse. Like try something with a creamback or a greenback or some of the Mojo Tone stuff. You're going to be surprised just how easy it is to fit your lead into a mix just by changing up those 2 little things. Best of luck to you, man. Thanks again for asking that one. Hopefully that helps out more than just you.
Hey Glenn, I've been seeing a lot of reviews on the new Mick Thompson pickups. They say they are packed with sonic possibilities, but as you've said, for high gain, it doesn't matter. Is this still valid, or do you think that as technology progresses, pickups will actually deliver on what they promise?
Well, until somebody figures out how to put the pickups after the speaker, I don't think it's going to do all that much. I love how you say the words are packed with sonic possibilities, because that's an intangible statement. You can't measure sonic possibilities. So I guess the marketing, you can get away with saying that because you don't actually have to be able to back that up with anything, because a possibility can be literally anything. The biggest possibility is it's going to take money out of your wallet. Just keep that in mind.
Hey Glenn, I hope it's going well. I know I am going to sound stupid for this, but it's not really territory I've explored before. In the past, you talked about pickups and how they don't make much of a difference as marketing says they do. What is the difference between them then? I doubt even with the marketing BS that stuff like fissions, EMGs, etc. are scams for lack of a better word. Cheers, a nose-picking bass player.
Well, dude, I've always said there's no such thing as stupid questions, but there are a lot of awful stupid statements. What's the difference between pickups? I mean, like in a blind test, we've done it right here on the show. People can pick out a single coil versus a humbucker. That's about it. Humbucker to humbucker, you're going to get a much narrower gap. And I mean, like if single coil's over here, humbucker is like way over here. The difference from humbucker to humbucker is going to be something more like that. And it's just going to basically vary in noise rejection and output. As for the actual tonal differences, not very much, because it's basically like a 2 to 3 decibel bump on a parametric EQ before your amp. Sorry guys, that's all there is to it.
Hey guys, and Glenn, I keep seeing high-end one-speaker cabs sold for $599 plus, and I saw a few of the mid-grade cabs with the same speaker sold for $299. Has anyone experienced a difference in sound? Thanks again, guys, for your help.
Well, this is the thing. I don't know if the more expensive cab's actually going to quote-unquote sound better, but cabinets will vary on sound based on sheer geometry. That's really all it comes down to. My recommendation for great sounding cabinets, don't spend a lot of money. Go get the Harley Benton vertical 2x12s. You can get them with vintage 30s, greenbacks, and creambacks. I've got the greenback cab sitting out there. The vintage 30 ones over at my friend John's place, and they're phenomenal cabs, and they don't cost a lot of money. If you're looking to upgrade your tone, I definitely recommend getting one of those before buying anything else. They're only a couple $100. It really doesn't cost all that much to ship them to the US either. It's definitely worth the investment. You probably save yourself a small fortune from buying some of, say, the American branded 1x12 speakers that really don't have any better properties over the Harley Benton ones. That's just my opinion. Your mileage may vary, but if I was in your position, I know what I'd be spending my money on.
Glad I bought the spring thing and I'm enjoying it so far, but I'm still learning many features of the software. In ELE, there is a Subkick mic. Can you give me some of the insight on how to mix and EQ this? What is the end goal of the sub? I assume it's not to sound like 808.
Ah, yes. The Subkick in ELE. Most of that stuff's already pre-EQ'd with the idea of you don't have to fuck with it that much to get it to sound good. There's a lot of presets on there, including some of mine, that just sound great. The Subkick is just basically meant to be mixed in just underneath the main kick mics, just to give the kick drum a little bit more bottom end. Speaking of the spring thing, that was awfully popular, and because it's 4th of July weekend, we thought we'd do something called the SummerSlam Super Sale. Roll the clip. Run for your lives. It's the first annual Spectre Digital SummerSlam Super Sale. This 4th of July, we are going to revolutionize the world of pro audio plugins. Get your hands on the ultimate virtual rhythm section, Element Bass Amp, Singularity Virtual Bass, and Extinction Level Event 2.0 drums. This package is so powerful, so explosive, it'll rock your world all summer long. But wait, the craziness doesn't stop there. The SummerSlam Super Sale includes my absolute favorite beginner amp sim, the Bogren Amp Knob. Just turn it up, it works. No, really, that's all you gotta do. We've also stuffed this bundle with Metal Essentials Volume 1 and Classic Metal, custom mini group packs for Extinction Level Event. But the fireworks continue. You also get Scott Elliott's guitar tone mastery, Alex Nasla's mixing and mastering a full metal album, and all of my courses too. Total heavy guitar, producing prog metal, mixing symphonic folk metal, mixing Metal Reaper with free plugins. Holy crap, Glenn, how do you do it? We jammed so much into this bundle, I can't even list everything included without running out of time. Do yourself a favor, celebrate freedom this summer like any self-respecting audio engineer would from the comfort of an air-conditioned studio. The SummerSlam Super Sale is here, but it's only gonna last till Sunday night. Then, like a firework lighting up the night sky, it is gone. Get it now because it's only $177. Links in the description below. Click it now.
Glenn, how do speakers / IRs affect bass tone? It seems like bass speakers are entirely untalked about.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I need to do a couple little shootouts here on some bass cabs at some point. I think I'm going to get around to doing that eventually. However, you do want to check out some bass IRs. Guess what? We've got a bass IR loader included in Element Bass. That's our bass amp sim. That's part of the Spectre Digital SummerSlam Super Sale, which is on sale this weekend. Sale ends tomorrow night. Make sure you go grab a copy now while you can.
What VST were you using on the screen? Almost looks like some neural DSP.
What I was using there was yet another Spectre Digital plugin. That one is Prism. That's our IR loader library thing. That's going to be available real soon. It's actually available for pre-order right now. We're still ironing out some bugs. It's not version 1.0 yet, but if you want to check it out, it's really freaking cool, and it's like under $10 a month. If you want to go grab yourself a copy of that, it's pretty awesome, especially if you want a couple of different guitar tones, because it's basically got all of them, including a huge library of vintage Marshall caps. Really amazing stuff.
I can't even watch videos anymore on YouTube. All I see is ad blockers violate YouTube's terms of service.
Yeah, you know, as somebody who makes their living doing YouTube, maybe consider turning your ad blockers off. That way the people who make the content you enjoy can make a living and continue to make content for you to enjoy. Just an idea.
Which amp simulation you used on this test?
That was a combination of Tonex on Amplitude 5. That was a custom capture of my Driftwood amp, which is not publicly available. And that's also running into Prism with some custom IRs, which are available for free over at the Spectre Digital website. I do like to give away a lot of stuff, so make sure you watch the show regularly so you can find out when I've got cool stuff up for grabs like that. Of course, you're referencing the Rough V demo that I did there a couple weeks ago, and then I re-released with all the special effects gone. Thanks to everybody who watched that, by the way. I always do appreciate constructive criticism, and it's nice to be able to get the video right and make sure you guys enjoy what you're watching. So I do appreciate everybody who wrote in on that one. Thanks so much, guys.
I might be overlooking something obvious here, but with an amp/cab, you can get some feedback going. Is there any way to get this with amp sims? I've got a song that would be cool to add that live feedback sound.
Yeah, that is kind of a little bit more difficult to get when you're sitting at your desktop. Generally, when I want to get feedback, I got to crank the living shit out of my monitors in here and hopefully get a little bit. It's far easier to do with, you know, a fucking full-size cabinet, that's for sure. But I think it's possible with monitors. You just have to get things up to ear-splitting volume. So be careful you don't blow them in the process. Good luck, dude.
Hey Glenn, just a question about recording guitar. Is it okay if I connect my guitar with use of amp sims with a Rocksmith cable? Without an interface, that is. It's literally just a jack in and USB out. And so far, it's been a little over a year since I've been using it, and I barely play real amps anyway. So even still, should I get an interface?
I am unqualified to answer that. I think we do have a Rocksmith cable in the house somewhere. My wife expressed interest, and so I bought her one, and then she casually, of course, never played it. I imagine that scenario has played out in many a household across the world. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the latency is like. Hey, if you can play it and you don't notice too much delay between playing some strings and then what you're hearing over the speakers, then I say go for it. Then again, you just can't go wrong with an interface either. I mean, I don't know what your financial situation is. If you're absolutely broke and Rocksmith is working, go for it. If you got maybe an extra $100 to spare, look around on your Facebook marketplace for maybe a used interface. Like if you find a used Audient, those things are fucking incredible. They probably shouldn't be all that expensive. So keep your eyes peeled for that. You definitely can't go wrong picking one up. That's for sure. Good luck, dude.
I've had a question for a while and haven't found any answers to it. How does the concept of quad tracking apply to having two guitar players in the band? Do you quad track both guitars and pan both guitars left and right, or do you assign a guitar to the left and the other guitar to the right?
I'm going to answer what I used to do and what I think we should be doing. Generally, when it comes to quad tracking, and if the guitar or the band has two rhythm players, I'll usually get one guy to play a song, all four rhythm tracks, and then, we can alternate between players. That sort of thing, just to get things tighter. At least that's how I was doing it. And then I'm realizing, that might not be the right approach. Especially, I don't even know if quad tracking is all that necessary unless you're going to layer certain things like, amps and pedals and all kinds of stuff like that. These days, if I were to have a band come in and they had two guys playing rhythm guitar, I'd probably do a single rhythm track each. Because I think we need to go back to looking for better vibe as opposed to everything just perfect on a grid, because the perfect on a grid thing, quite frankly, sucks.
Hi Glenn, do you ever have issues with screen burn-in on that OLED monitor on the wall?
No, I have had zero issues with this thing. I have screensavers kick in. If you're not doing anything with the screen, it will automatically dim as well so you don't get burn-in. I've had this since, December, and there haven't been any images burned in yet. This thing's been phenomenal. It has not let me down at all. This screen looks absolutely amazing. So if you're considering getting a giant OLED for your computer, yeah, go for it. I think mine's fantastic.
What's the difference between a Reamp box and an audio interface? Shoutouts and fuck you from Australia.
Hey Daniel, thanks for writing in. Okay, an interface, you got your Focusrite Scarletts, you got your Audience, you got all that stuff. Basically, an audio interface gets your signal in and out of your computer. That's basically what it does. I just did one for Antelope, the Zengo Quattro. Fantastic interface. And it has multiple IOs. I mean, like, and I've got a super high-end one from Neumann, the MT48. Wow, is that thing amazing. However, you can't just take an output from an audio interface and plug it into your guitar amp and hope it reamps, because you're going to run into impedance issues and grounding issues as well. And that's why you need one of these. This is a United Audio Replay box. This thing is specifically designed for reamping and to get your guitar to the appropriate level that an amp actually needs to see. You don't have to put any boosters in between this and the amp. It just does it better than any other reamp box on earth. And no, United is not paying me to say that. This thing is worth it. Now, if you're just starting out and you're on a budget, I understand the idea of buying an interface and then having to buy a reamp box on top of it. It's got to suck in terms of expense, but the reamp box is kind of the one thing you'll buy once and never have to buy again for the rest of your life. So there is that. Definitely worth the investment.
Windsor? Don't you mean South Detroit, where you can take the train anywhere?
Oh, if only that were true. Yeah, you're talking about the Journey song there, Don't Stop Believing. Yeah, that's the thing. When they wrote that song, they didn't realize there wasn't a South Detroit. The thing that's south from Detroit is Windsor, where I live. And yeah, so that's kind of been the nickname of this town for the last 10, 15 years, South Detroit. The only problem is our trains suck, and our trains don't go anywhere. They go to like Chatham, London, Burlington, and Toronto. And they're just fucking terrible. Apparently they bought new rolling stock, but it's going to take you like 3.5, 4 hours to get to Toronto from Windsor. After tooling around Europe for over the last few summers, you know, going between, say, Germany, Netherlands, Czech Republic, and all that kind of stuff, I'm really envious of European trains, especially the ICEs in Germany. Or I finally got to ride the bullet train in Japan. That's something I'd always wanted to do. I finally got to do that this year. We took the train from Tokyo down to Osaka. I got to do that with Alex and Trey. We had an absolute blast doing that. And I really recommend that. But trains going anywhere from Windsor? Yeah, that's not happening.
Good morning, Glenn. Do you have any YouTube videos yet about setting up live sound? I want to set up a rehearsal studio that has primary focus on making music practicing efficient and thorough.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Limiting distractions and having equipment and information accessible to optimize productivity during practice times, as well as preparing my practice equipment to also be versatile enough for small venues. What are your thoughts, Glenn? Have you already made a video about this topic yet?
I actually did a video a while back. It was called The Ultimate Small Gig Rig, and that's where I took 3 critical elements and turned that into a live rig. It was a Zillacab vertical 2x12, a Seymour Duncan Power Stage 800, like an 800 watt solid state amp, that's about yay big, and a Quad Cortex. That was a pretty sick live rig, actually, and loud as fuck. So I'd say check that one out and see what you think there. Maybe that can help you out. Once again, that's called The Ultimate Small Gig Rig.
Over 2 hours in, going to watch some more of this today, and I have an actual question. Should I not use the line output on the back of my amp to record bass lines? The band doesn't want to mic up cabinets on the next recording. I think I'd really like to use my amp. Thanks. It's a 100 watt Ampeg V4B, if you're wondering.
Sure you can. You can absolutely take a line out of a bass amp and get some great sounds. I'd use a DI actually and take a direct sound off the pickups as well. And I'd also mic the amp too. I don't understand why your band doesn't want to mic up the amps. Don't they know how to do it? Have them watch a few of my tutorials, like how to record heavy guitar. Remember, when you're miking up a speaker, just aim the 57 at the spot where the splats are. It's really not that difficult. Try that. I think more bands should be miking up live amps instead of just using IRs. I think more bands should be recording live off the floor, and more bands should definitely be throwing the metronome in the fucking garbage. Let's hear some actual rock in your rock and roll.
Glenn, do you have any views or opinions on the difference between similar speakers with neodymium versus ferrite magnets? I know there aren't many companies making speakers with both types of magnets in a similar model, but I do think at least Celestion makes their creamback model in both versions. I would love to see a test comparison for any of these and similar models you know about. As you've taught us, it's all about the speaker. But as I get closer to, let's call it AARP eligibility, the weight of a speaker cab becomes a more and more important consideration. So can we switch to a significantly lighter speaker without sacrificing tone?
Dude, phenomenal question. The Celestion Neo creambacks are great. They sound pretty different than the regular creambacks. That's just the nature of the beast, but the Neo creams are fantastic. Mojotone makes the British Neo as well. I just demoed those not too long ago, and I thought they were pretty great. They don't have a ton of bottom end. They're a little bit more kind of a soft mid-range kind of thing, but I think they've got their own thing going on, and I think that's really fucking cool because they don't sound like vintage 30s. It's a great time to be a guitar player with so many speaker options out there. I could probably do a bit of a deep dive into the Neo thing a little bit more down the road. I think that might be an episode worth checking out, actually. Thanks for the suggestion, man.
Do you do any videos that aren't insanely annoying rants?
Well, Chuck, to tell you the truth, I've been working on an investigative video for the last little while, and that's to find out if Chuck Schilling's parents are actually brother and sister. I'll let you know when the video drops.
Doing my part in letting this play during the night. You also debrief on how it did to your stats.
Oh, you're referencing last Sunday's 9-hour long video, Guitars That'll Destroy America. Because apparently YouTube likes super long videos, so I thought I'd put that out and see what happens. And yeah, that video did pretty shit, to be honest with you. It made almost no money. It did 20,000 views, and I do appreciate everybody who watched it, but it really didn't make the money I was hoping it would, so that kind of sucks. I watched a video by the Spiffing Brit, and it was his suggestion to put together a bunch of videos and call it The Movie. Apparently, you guys are not into 9-hour videos. Who'd have thunk that? But I might do another one where I put together some of the speaker videos and show off that sort of thing, and maybe have that as an hour or maybe a 2-hour video, and I'll see how that one does. Maybe that might be a little bit easier to digest instead of me going on and on and on for 9 hours straight. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Once again, don't forget about the Spectre Digital SummerSlam Super Sale. It's on sale right now, and it's going to end Sunday night, so get in on the deals right now. We've got all that software, we've got all those courses, and we've even got the Bogren amp knob included, and you get it all for only $177. It is an absolutely unbeatable deal. I don't know who's throwing in this many courses with that much software. It's definitely worth getting your hands on. Links in the description below. That's all I got for today. I'm Glenn Fricker. Good night, San Diego. Go fuck yourself. So you're not going to struggle that much to get them to sit into it. That's just my opinion. Your mileage. I can't even watch videos on. Jesus Christ. Oops.